tonight, but I want to make sure that everybody understands what we're trying to do and go forward. So with that, let's start with the Secretary's report.
Black Lake Association, October 12, 2015. The meeting was called to order at 7:30 p.m. After introduction to the Black Lake Association Board and people in attendance, 46 members, the pledge is recited and the minutes from the previous meeting were read. The following corrections were made. Corey Hyde is the contact person for Waverly Township. Terry Wild was added to the Communications Committee by the committee, and Pragmites were seen on Black River Road, not along the Black River. A motion was made to accept the minutes with the corrections. It was seconded and passed. Our treasurer presented a year-end report dating from September 2014 through August 2015. This report will be posted on the Black Lake website. The treasurer's report was received and filed subject to audit. Our president reported the Black Lake Association is due for an audit. Ron Dulac looked into CPAs in the Sheboygan area and found the cost to be between $400 and $650. Mary Rocco suggested we use Richard Nash. He is a CPA and a member of the Black Lake Association. Richard offered to perform the audit at no cost to the association. A motion was made to accept Richard's offer. It was seconded and passed. A member questioned the $8,000 under membership and other. Cindy explained that it was a line item transfer that was approved at July 13th meeting. Standing committees. Membership committee. We have 492 paid members as of October 1st. Boyd Smith reported that he requested and received the names and addresses, both mailing and physical addresses, of the owners of parcels on Black Lake in the Sheboygan County for $25 and Presque Isle County for $15. We still need the names and addresses of residents across the road from the lake. There are 560 parcels in Sheboygan County and 277 in Presque Isle County. This information will be used to mail out our newsletter. Township reports. North Alice reported that the bridge over the Rainy River should be completed by December 1st. None of the other townships had anything to report. Channel markers. Brett Trippinair reported that the channel markers are out, washed, and stored at Gary Shepherd's. 2 buoys have been damaged and need to be replaced. All the red buoys are fading and will need to be replaced. Brett is looking into availability and pricing. Brett's dad and wife have been assisting him in placing and removing the buoys. Old business, fish committee. An electroshock survey will take place on October 28th. Since the meeting, the date has been changed to October 15th. This will be done by the Little Traverse Band of Odawa Indians. This is a no-cost survey performed by the tribe, which will help determine if natural reproduction is occurring. Boyd Smith and Roger Selvage will be on the boat representing the Black Lake Association. 8,000 to 9,000 walleye fingerlings will be planted on October 21st at 1 p.m. at the state park. The DNR suggested we do not plant fish for a few years, and we haven't for the past 2 years. But because the community has donated money for the purpose of fish stocking, we feel committed to planting fish this last time. The DNR has approved a permit for us to do this. Discussion followed, and the membership was reminded that the decision on restocking was passed at our July meeting. Pragmites. Roger reported that the Pragmites on the north end of the lake was treated this fall. A follow-up visit will be done, and the results will be reported to the Black Lake Association. Roger will notify the property owners that eradication has been completed. Huron Pines billed us $100 for the service. Virgil Smith reported 4 sightings of Pragmites on the Black River Road. Permission from the county and the homeowners must be obtained before it can be treated. Some of these patches have been treated in the past. It may be too late in the season to treat these Virgil shared some flyers on Huron Pines and Craig Meadows. Communication report. The Communications Committee met twice since inception. Mary Rocco, the chairperson, made a motion for the Black Lake Association Communications Committee to be recognized as a standing committee. This motion was seconded and passed. The committee shared their purpose statement. Discussion followed on the Facebook page that the committee developed. Negative accusations have been made against the board. The committee says that no negative comments were made. Several members reported reading negative comments. The developer of the Facebook page has the authority to delete items from the page. The board does not feel it should be put in a situation to constantly defend themselves. Some members feel a Facebook page would be a great communication tool for the Black Lake Association. The board does not disagree with this, but so far they feel the Facebook page has been used to attack the Black Lake Association. The board does not want the words Black Lake Association to be part of the name of the Facebook page. The committee wants to call the page Friends of the Black Lake Association. Linda Pennanon made a recommendation for the board to make a motion to call the Facebook page Friends of the Black Lake Association, Onaway, Michigan. The board will not recognize this name. Being a 501c3 nonprofit has defined our boundaries, according to Roger. We do not have the luxury of advertising boats and renting cottages. Randy Lewis related the committee's desire to improve communication with our community by Facebook. There is no intention to upset anyone. Mary Rocco feels that because most of our members are seasonal, they would truly benefit from a Facebook page. Website. Cindy Trepanier reported the minutes and meeting dates will be on our website as soon as Matt Janop gets it up and running. He is working on it now and should be ready soon. The State Park. Virgil shared a letter from Keith Shelley, Regional Field Planner of the DNR. This is in quotes. We are waiting for a visit from the state archaeologist at Onaway State Park to perform an investigation in the areas conceptually proposed for a second improvement effort. The state of Michigan's new fiscal year started October 1st, so it doesn't appear that the Onaway State Park boat launch will receive funding for additional improvements at this time. Furthermore, it is questionable if additional improvements are required at this location. Much of the work that has been recently completed appears to have made a significant enhancement in the function, flow, and safety of the boat launch and launching activity. As previously discussed, assuming we will continue to monitor the activity at the boat launch, it will be important to develop a single criteria and format that can be used to record observations consistently regardless of who is performing the observations. There are a number of land acquisitions statewide priorities above the Black Lake Marina proposal, and maybe sometime before this proposal is able to be considered. We will know more after January 1st. It may still be valuable to coordinate an informal stakeholder meeting with this group as discussed late fall or early winter to continue our discussion in an informative and transparent fashion. Regarding the trailside shelter, Spooner's Roost, Unit Supervisor Jeremy Spell is working to schedule an appointment with the historic restoration contractor to develop a proposal and plan to rehabilitate the entire structure. This scope of work will include fixing the chimney and the fireplace, repointing the stonework, log repair, a replacement, and new cedar shakes shingles. Our stewardship department is very pleased in this effort and has already provided a small amount of funding to begin this initiative. The tentative Black Lake financial support of $5,000 from a generous family will be helpful in generating matching money from the DNR and likely additional funding above and beyond, which may help us to realize a full structural restoration. Once the contractor provides the estimate, we will be able to develop a more detailed plan for improvement. A group of members conducted a health survey on wait time at the boat launch. This was without the board's approval. They were asked by our president not to do this since it may impact the Black Lake Association relationship with the DNR. They went ahead and did it. it was suggested that members work with the board. After discussion, Virgil Smith made a motion that all monies from the banquet, raffles, etc. goes to a general fund to be used when specific needs arise. The motion was seconded and passed. Bylaws, change proposal. President Virgil Smith shared our mission statements from our bylaws dating back to 1964. Each time it was changed, fishing appeared in our mission statement. Fishing is not new. It was not just added as a member suggested. Mary Rocco made a motion to create a committee to review the bylaws periodically. Virgil explained that they are reviewed every 2 years. Changes can be suggested and then voted on at a general meeting, at a general Black Lake Association meeting. The association is required to have the suggested changes available to the members 30 days prior to a vote. The motion was withdrawn. New business. Coalition to Protect Michigan Resources. Frank Chris presented a report on the negotiations of the tribal treaties. The present treaty will be renegotiated in 2020. It is in the Black Lake's best interest to make sure that this treaty has a minimal effect on our lake. Having the correct information is a valuable tool when understanding the workings of the agreements. In order for our voices to be heard, it was suggested that the Black Lake Association join the coalition. There is a one-time cost of $2,300 with added assessments if needed. We can withdraw at any time and still attend the meetings, but we'll have no vote. A motion was made to join, it was seconded and passed. Due to the late hours, several topics on our agenda were not discussed, such as the Upper Black Lake sand load, project proposals to improve the Black Lake experience, fundraising activities, and under new business, vision, mission, strategic planning, winter board meeting, member input and concerns. The meeting was adjourned at 10:30 p.m.
Okay, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I would like to submit this from Ann Kennedy regarding the launch study. And on here, it does show the request from Virgil Smith saying the VLA needs your help in order to continue its legacy. Please consider becoming a board member of the committee and or a beach representative. Try to attend our meetings, and I might be reading the wrong place. I'm sorry, read the wrong place.
What is it?
In an effort to further improve the boat launch, please provide feedback to the Black Lake Association and or the DNR regarding your experience using this new boat launch. And then also, the supervisor of Onaway State Park requested information by saying, we ask your patience while we figure out how to best improve these changes, and we welcome any constructive comments to help with the flow and the traffic. There you go.
Anybody got anything else they want to add? Deb?
I asked for a clarification, when you're discussing the treaty in 2020.
Virgil, who is that?
Pardon me?
I don't know who's talking.
It's Bev Hoss, right?
Yeah. When you said, can you repeat that when you said something about we want to ensure the treaty has minimal effect on the lake, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well,
You mean the treaty doesn't discuss the
they-
lake? We wanna keep the
we're
lake-
approving minutes right now, but I'd be glad to cover that with you, Bev. Real quickly, they're in treaty negotiations again with the Indians, and it can have an impact on their take and fish from the lake and how they do it and that kind of thing. We just wanna make sure, the negotiating team wants to make sure that all interests are taken into account and dealt with fairly. And we're contributing to that.
Okay, but when you say the treaty has minimal effect on the lake, that to me means the treaty won't include the lake, or won't address the lake.
Nobody does.
But, you know what I mean?
Well-
So I just don't know what that sentence isn't clear. You wanna say the fishing impact is minimal on the lake?
We wanna make sure that the treaty with tribes
Uh-huh.
has a nominal impact on our lake, primarily in the fishery area. I'm not sure how it was worded, but
Okay, I said the Association's best interest to make sure that this treaty has a minimal effect on our lake. Cause we were remember we were talking about how much the Indians could fish
Yep,
in.
yep, yep, I know,
Really-
I know.
really
Well,
the
listen, we,
trees may have a major impact on the lake, whichever way you're looking at it.
I really wanna move on.
I was just clarifying.
Are there any other corrections or additions? Okay, Board, I'll entertain a motion to,
I move we approve the minutes as corrected.
is there a second?
I'll take second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Madam Treasurer, would you give us a report?
Okay, balance in the checking as of 10/1/2015 was $44,626.61. For the month, we had dues income of $375. Our expenses were the secretary, 200, treasurer, 200, for a total of 400 for compensation. Huron Pines due diligence, which I went to for nonprofit, was $20. Insurance was $2,050. Secretary supplies was $103.47. Michigan filing fee was $20. That gives us a total of $2,593.47 in expenses for an ordinary income of $42,408.14. We have two CDs, $7,517.33, so our net assets are $49,925.47. Membership in 2014 was 508. Membership in 2015 was 497.
Okay, any corrections there? Hearing none, these will be filed subject to audit. While we're at the treasurer's thing, I did receive an invoice from Huron Pines for $100.
Yep.
Need a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve it. I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yes, I have a comment to make. In the letter that we received from Huron Pines, they indicated that the total cost of that was $200. Half of the cost was borne by the Huron Pines, and so our cost was just $100. They also mentioned in the latter part of that letter that their organization survives on membership fees and donations. And I guess at this time, I'd like to make a motion.
We have a motion on the floor.
What?
We have a motion on the floor.
Okay.
To pay the bill first.
Yeah. Any further discussion on the,
Oh, well,
the
I
motion
was
to
gonna,
pay the bill?
okay,
We'll come
all
back.
right, okay.
Let's do this properly. Any further
Sorry.
discussion? All those in favor of paying Huron Pines?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Now,
go ahead.
no, I'd like to make a motion that we make a donation of $500 to support Huron Pines, because, just to support their organization. Also, they indicated in their letter that they'll be coming back next year to take a look at what they've done this year to see if it needs any more remediation, so.
I'd like to add to that, though, Huron Pines also does all the education classes, all of the other things that are,
Let's have a second, we'll discuss it.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Now you're up.
okay. They do a lot of other things, seminars, education classes, anytime you need help on anything. I would second that thoroughly, because it is a very good program.
Can I ask a question? Is that okay or no?
Yeah.
They charged us for the job that they did, so we
Yeah.
paid them, so they are not relying solely on donations, they're performing services and they're getting paid, correct?
I would assume that they had two guys over here, or two people over here that
Did
were
they
there for a
perform a
number of
service and
times.
did we pay them for that?
Yes, we did.
Okay. I'd be curious to see, learn more about the organization before, this
We
board
handed out books
considers
last
just
meeting.
forking over
Yeah.
the money. We
There were
don't know
books handed
if,
out Last time.
pardon me?
At the last
Last
meeting,
meeting
we
we
did
handed
hand
out
out
books for-
brochures and books
For
on
Huron
them
Pines.
and talked about Huron Pines.
It's a very good
They work for the
organization, sir.
state, they're
Uh,
licensed by the state, Tip of the Mitt recommends them, Sheboygan County recommends them,
Mm-hmm.
and,
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, please don't say that they rely solely on donations
No.
when they're charging for their services.
They charged half.
Okay.
They
They
charge
paid
half.
the other half.
They're charging for their services, but let's just keep it, because that kinda goes towards, what is the need, what is the requirement.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Let's get through, membership quickly. Quick status, please.
Well, the last members that joined, they now have their decals and their, membership cards. And I think the only other thing I can say is that I have enough beach reps for next year, so we should be all set there. That's all.
Okay, communications.
We have a working draft, and I'm gonna turn the floor over to Brenda. I'm sorry, Brenda Archibald already.
So we met as a communications committee and thought it would be best to develop a working draft to define the purpose, goals, objectives, et cetera, of the committee, to kind of give us guidelines of what we should be doing. Hello. And you guys have those. So they are what they are. But first, I'd like to share with you my nice little tidbit here, my new bumper sticker. You can get them at the 211 Outpost. So, since you have everything in front of you, I really don't think I need to waste board time on everything, other than we identified purpose, goals, objectives, and tasks for the committee. All we're asking is to review it, provide us with input and feedback, and in the coming months, we can come back with a final draft so that it gives the committee a framework on which to operate that can enhance the communications of the board or the organization overall. But to define the purpose, we defined it as the purpose of the Black Lake Communications Committee is to develop and maintain a comprehensive communications program that will enhance communications between the board and the membership, and that it's a standing committee. And you can see that the goals, objectives, and tasks are defined. Our meeting schedule is we anticipate meeting on a monthly basis going forward until we have this final draft in the form that kind of gives us the format of how we operate. Objectives and key tasks are what they are. We can tweak these. Reporting would be May through October. We do keep notes for our meetings and hope that certainly other committees would do the same. On the sheet, it lists who the current members are and how to reach us. So with that, I open it up. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, that's very good. This fits in very well with what we'd like to do with strategic planning, and you've got your jobs almost done here. That's great. We gotta get other committees up to speed. Fishing.
As you all know, we planned and the association approved the stocking of walleye in Black Lake and an expenditure of $15,000 to do so. All the permits and the DNR were received. We talked to the supplier up north. They emptied their ponds, and Lord and behold, there were no fish in it. So as a result, we did not stock any fish in the lake this year. So that was canceled. So at this time, I would like to make a motion that we take the $15,000 that was approved, we put it into a separate account.
Ron, it's not,
We got more than that.
What?
the fish fund is 20,000.
Okay, we take the $20,000, put it in a special fund, and save it for stocking of fish next year, because we have an obligation to do that.
Well, It may not be next year, Ron. I mean, it ought to be put in a reserve for future
Until
stocking.
we use it, until we use it,
Yeah,
correct.
it might be 5 years.
So is there a
It
second
might be
for
10
that?
years.
I second the motion with the stipulation that it be put in a reserve fund.
Discussion.
Are we having a CD?
No, I don't mean to question, but I know that we had the 15,000. Can we just find out where the other 5,000 came from? I mean, is that gonna be
Absolutely.
posted or
No, it's not gonna be posted on the webpage, no.
on your,
We had 20,000 in the fish fund, we approved only 15.
well, okay, my only question is the $2,000 from, the last two auctions, did those go, is that accounted for?
Yes.
So that's 4,000 of
It's
that.
in the 20, yeah.
So last year's auction also went into the fish
Yes.
fund,
That's because it was at that time approved for the fish fund.
and none of our donors were made aware of that.
Oh,
Oh.
yes, they were.
Bo, on every order for the banquet, when you order tickets, at the bottom of it said, proceeds from this event will go to the fish fund.
And that's raffle tickets.
No,
No,
it was in the order form in every newsletter.
Okay, that's 2009.
right.
Well,
Okay,
we can get the rest of them.
They all say that.
Sharon, can I just ask you, from your understanding, because when we had a phone conversation, you did say that you were always under the impression that the money went to the general fund? Do you recall that on our phone?
I don't,
conversation?
like, this is my first year on the board, so
Okay,
I don't really know where the money goes. I would assume it went into the general fund. If it was specified for something else, I don't know that.
so if
We-
the board has decided that, that's fine, I just want to have the record.
Well, Bo, just for your understanding, I don't recall what year it was, but we started, we wanted to bring some additional fall fingerlings into the lake, and we did not have funds. And we went into fundraising mode, which included raffle tickets, donations at many of the stores, the banquet. And at that time, we said that all of the proceeds from our fundraising would go into the fish fund. And
is
that's
that
the way it's always
recommended?
been. In the last meeting, we changed that. Anything that we do in terms of fundraising in the future will go into the general fund, and the board will determine how it's allocated.
All right, thank you for the clarification.
But there was dues, there was a couple,
Yeah.
2 memorials.
And that was at the bottom of every order, and it was also on all of our raffle tickets.
Well, the raffles always went to the fish fund.
Yeah.
I will, that was very,
So you're really
Well,
referring to the
thank you.
silent auction?
We had a 50/50 drawing, and the funds from that drawing,
I understand, I
Went to the fish
understand.
fund.
Everything that took place at the banquet, yeah. Now, there was a motion on the floor.
and seconded by Roger. Yes.
Remind me of the motion.
Is to
Oh,
put those
reserve
funds
funds, okay.
in a separate
Thank
account
you.
and hold them
Okay.
for
Any
use
further
next-
discussion?
the next available time.
Let's vote.
And
All,
do we need the exact amount, or do you?
it's
because-
$20,187.10.
And that is coming from donations that are coming in still, specifically for fish.
Well,
Wait a minute, I'm confused. So are you saying that you've got $20,000 you're gonna set in a separate fund, yet you're gonna continue to fund the fish stocking going forward too? Or are you taking the $20,000 that was supposed to go to fish, putting that in a separate fund, and then allowing us to start to consider turning our attention to other issues?
If we hold any raffles, if anybody donates money.
Okay, if they donate
specifically-
money for fish, right.
Right.
Okay, so then raffles
Terry,
would go to fish?
the concept is, we just want to put it in a reserve fund. I think Richie has already worked with
He's put
Cindy to
that in
set
there.
that
Yes,
up.
he put that,
Richie's done that.
And we've done that, and this is a motion to set that fund aside, that money aside. And I don't know if it's gonna be 5 years or 10 years, we'll work with the DNR.
or one.
Mhm, oh, I understand.
So that's there. Now, additional funds that come in that are earmarked for a specific purpose, basically, those will go to that purpose. Just like the money came in from, there was a,
Spooner's Roost.
for the $5,000 on Spooner's Roost or whatever.
That is earmarked off. to the
That's
side.
also in a reserve fund.
Okay, so then, it'll stop at the 20, and then
Correct, unless
we'll
somebody
use
says,
dues and what
we-
have you
we-
to build up for
Yeah,
other
any bank puts
initiatives.
anything here forward, unless somebody designates it for the fish
Yes.
fund, the bank, that money will then go towards other projects.
Great, okay, cool. I
Okay.
just wanted to make sure, it's my
Yeah.
first time, so, thank you.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Webpage. Great job, Cindy. Oh, you want me to?
Well, the webpage is up and running. We've got it at full capacity as far as the information to put on. After, like today's meeting, the next thing that happens, take out the meeting, and then we'll put on more. As new information comes in, we will flip it, and it'll be more. And so far, people that are signing in, I've had quite a few people that are not members trying to get into members only. Not that there's anything big in there, but, so that is being weeded now. We're not getting spam in there.
That's good.
Yeah,
How do you get to the login? I mean, do
if you are using certain browsers, is what I'm finding out, it does not have the login button. You have to use, if you can't get it on your Microsoft Edge, go to Internet Explorer, Safari, Foxfire, any of those, and it'll bring up the little button at the top that says login. Click on that, and you go down to the bottom, and it says register. Click on the red register, and then you put in your own new username, your own password, but I have to have your names because I verify that you're a member. And then it comes to me, and I approve it, and then you're good. It'll give you an email back saying you're good to go.
So when we do that, then, so like when stuff's going on, you just email us then? Is that,
No,
Not yet.
no, that lets you into the members section, that's all.
oh,
There's no,
There's minutes and other things in there, Brenda.
oh,
It is a plan, that, as we get a directory, membership directory together, and that would be, that has to be populated or completed by individuals. We would use any email address there to blast out meeting notices, agendas, that kind of stuff in the
that'll
future.
be separate from the webpage, that's not.
Yeah.
okay.
Can we give Cindy a clap for doing
Yeah,
a
that
nice
was-
job on the website?
It looks great.
Is there a way to link up the webpage so when something new's posted, and if you have our email address for register?
Not this time. It will not give you an alert, no.
Is that?
It's not in the works right now. It may in the future, but right now, we're just working on having the webpage up, running, and everything on, information on it.
Well, here's where Facebook and the webpage, can work together, because if there's a new posting on the website, we could just take that link and put it on the Facebook page, and then be pushed.
Mary is notified as part of the board that if something's gonna happen new, she's notified so she can put it on Facebook.
Okay, is that good for everybody? Cause that's your push notification, you'll get your notices. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
We have an invoice from, the web developer. Total bill for development of what we have is $980. We had a motion, prior motion,
That considers also Bluehost runs out in May.
right?
He is gonna take over our hosting, so that also includes for a year, $108 for that.
For
So
Yeah.
hosting,
that,
okay.
that would be
Okay.
very reasonable.
We don't have to take action on this because we already approved $1,000 for that.
Right.
But we do have to take action on, this guy's outstanding, he's, and I think we're gonna
The answers
continue
we
to
like
use
now.
his services. And, so what I'd like to do, Cindy, you know better than I, but I'd like to make arrangements for an ongoing, retainer relationship with this individual as he
Anything,
does stuff.
anything we do, he charges $45 an hour. If it takes 28 minutes, that's what he charges for. He doesn't round it up or anything like that. So any changes that are made, any notices that are put on, he does charge for that. I have opted not to do that, so.
Well, I would
And
rather not to
he
come to every
has-
meeting and have to approve an
He
invoice.
answers me within an hour or two, so I am very happy with that.
And I did talk to some people who said that they said $45 an hour to do this and be at our beck and call is really a
Right.
reasonable price.
So if you
And
want to
he's, yeah.
designate an amount,
I would entertain a motion.
Right, it may not be used.
I don't know how much money.
I put up one of our first Black Lake Association
I
page,
remember that.
and I charged $0 to do that. In fact, I didn't even charge the hosting cost or whatever to do that. And I would be willing to take on, or take over the duties that he performs, and if there's something beyond my abilities, we can have him, do that.
No, I appreciate it, but I have a working relationship with him, and I'm really happy with what he's doing, and I would just as soon stay with it. That's my opinion. Anybody else can have a different one, but I like what's going on.
Well-
It's working.
Let's get a motion if we're gonna discuss this.
I'll make a
please.
motion that we hire
Well,
Matt
Okay.
Wait,
to,
What
can we
kind of-
discuss
what-
it, or you've just gone to the
Well, I
higher?
want a
That's
motion
what
and
we-
we'll discuss
we
it,
have to
Terry.
make the
We
motion.
really shouldn't be discussing it without
No.
a
Okay, you
motion.
need a dollar amount.
Well, I'm looking for a budget amount. What kind of monthly thing, and let's multiply that by,
Well, from now until, April, well, no, we got the newsletter when it's
Newsletter in
done.
January.
Okay, I guess I gotta back that up. If we do $45 per month, that should take care of any changes that are gonna happen, because it can accumulate, and then if he,
if I add to the archives, that wouldn't take much, right?
not much at all, 5-10 minutes, so.
Okay.
So if we did $45 a month in the budget, then I think that should cover it.
okay, so that's $600.
That's
Would
quick,
you do,
I'll make a motion that we authorize $600 to cover Matt's,
Okay, just a general.
for a year,
all right.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
for a
All right.
year.
For a second. I'll second that. Okay, now let's discuss it. Any discussion?
Matt Gannell?
Matt Ginup,
Yeah,
Matt's a paraplegic
Yeah.
and
That's-
really super guy.
He did Sturgeon for tomorrow, did he not, Brenda?
This is his business, correct?
Yes.
Great job.
That's his
Do
business.
do you have the
He
similar
has
model with him?
MCG Web Development.
Yep.
The thing with that is you do all the content and he'll put all the stuff on there.
Right.
And he did, yeah,
Yeah.
and he does it like
He
I
doesn't
say.
write articles, he
No.
No.
doesn't develop articles, he
No.
just, whatever you want on your page, you send it to him
He
and
does
He
it.
posts
usually
it.
within 24 hours it's up
Oh,
and
yeah, well, working with him, I guess he did it within an hour or two,
Okay,
yeah.
are we ready to vote? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Good. Now, the next part's vision, mission, strategic planning, but Boyd, you,
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment before we get into all this. For those that, I'm the guy that sits in this corner over here and hasn't said too much, but I'm trying to take it all in. I just retired a year and a half ago. And my wife was telling me, Linda, that, they needed more board members. There wasn't enough people to go on the board. I said, really, I just wanna kick back. I worked 41 years and I really don't wanna get involved in anything. But they needed somebody, and so I said, put my name out there, and here I am, okay? So I really sat back, because I really wanted to see what was going on, and I was assured that there wasn't a whole lot going on. Well, come to find out, there's a whole lot going on. And I'm not sure if, I guess I was elected to be on the board for 3 years, is that correct, Bruce?
that's correct.
Okay, can I be recalled?
Recalled?
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Well, depends
I
on what you,
just want,
depends on what you
the
do.
membership to know that maybe they can recall me, you know, if I'm not doing the
Why don't
proper
you just
job.
quit if you don't wanna do it?
Pardon?
Why don't you just resign?
Well, I might,
Okay.
I'm
mean, I'll
thinking
recall.
because, you know, and I'll,
So
I'll,
neat.
and I'll give you a couple reasons why, you know. Everybody thinks that people that are on the board, we're not paid, we're volunteers. You know, I don't think some of you understand that. We're taking our own time to help make the Black Lake better, okay? There's a lot of people here that evidently don't think that the board's doing that. And for the purpose of transparency, there was a letter that came in regards to the strategic planning mission and everything that we're doing now. and I take a little bit offense of it. So for transparency purposes, there's a few things that the individual said that I wanna bring up, so you know how I stand on these things, okay? And it said something in regards to, Bonds and Stewart beaches are all behind him when he makes these comments. And he says, he is definitely against these things. One is a country club, which I kinda laughed to myself, thinking, Sheboygan and Presque Isle counties are two of the poorest counties in the state, and why in the world would you think that there'd be a country club here?
So,
Let me go on, please.
Lloyd, I don't know where you're headed with this. I was,
Not the place.
Well, it's vision, mission,
No,
strategic plan.
no, this is
Well,
him
I'm
talking
trying
about
to,
his personal reaction.
I'm just trying to, you know,
Yes,
and
it's a board.
let them know how I
Members.
feel on issues, okay?
What?
Now they said they don't want a marina here.
He's talking to the members, I'm gonna say respond.
You know,
I mean, is this the place for it? I'm asking you as the president, was this what this meeting was called for?
pardon me?
Was this what this meeting was, I thought we were talking
No,
about the
no,
vision.
well, we are,
Why
and,
would I be out of order?
So he's talking
I'm trying
about
to be
leaving.
it's
your turn to talk.
Well-
She's out of order.
Hey, I don't think you want me to say what I'm saying, you know.
Oh, I want,
That's
go
my
ahead, go,
stance.
it's 8:15, keep
Yeah.
talking.
They didn't want a country club. We're, like I said before, we're the poorest counties in the whole state. You know, other than a country, are you trying to block Black Lake, get rid of the Black Lake golf course? I'm trying to understand where you're coming
Well,
from.
so are you asking us a question, should we answer or
Well,
let
I
you
don't-
keep talking?
Well, do you wanna answer
well,
that?
Sonny, I would really,
I just got told
Have you
to
just,
stop talking.
have you just simply talked to Rusty Gollin if that's,
Wait,
that's your
wait,
issue?
wait a
Point
minute,
of order, point of
Wait
order.
a minute. First of all, a board is a board, and they conduct all business. We feel that the members should be present. We wanna listen to your input. It isn't that you don't have a vote, you don't have a place here and all that, but this is really board business. And Boyd, I wanna say to you, I understand your feelings and where you're at, but we've gotta get beyond that and put together a strategic plan. Now, the strategic plan that he's talking about is one that was put together by Rusty. Rusty put a lot of thought in it. There's a lot of good things in there. It's a mixture of plans, bylaws, and processes. You know, it's not a document that you could, I think it's more of a reference document. I think there's a lot of good things in there we ought to
I
consider.
don't think anybody's questioning that, they're questioning the
Well,
comments
okay.
he made.
Okay, well,
You know
let
it.
me just finish up here.
Well,
You know,
I don't
there's just
know.
a few things that I just kinda wanted to be transparent. I wanna let them know that I'm for a marina. I think we need a destination place on the lake to go to, and maybe order some fish dinners and go down the Black Lake, River, or a quick pizza, or something like that. I would love to have a marina to pull into, get gas, go to the restrooms, but evidently they don't want these things. And the final thing was, what bothers me the most is at the end he said, if you don't do what I want, there will be even more chaos.
Yes.
And I'm going, my God, what, more chaos? So it's like, I mean, I don't even understand that statement, you know? And if that's the case, that's what he's gonna do, then I would say, we definitely want to take, you know, I would make a motion to get an attorney to change the wording on that Friends of the Black Lake Association, because they're not our friends. If they're gonna use that format as chaos.
Lloyd, I'd like to address some of the things that you're talking about. I don't necessarily have to, but I can either talk to you after the meeting or right now.
Let's do it after, Jeff. This-
Do it after.
Very good.
Yeah,
This is,
this is just not the forum.
we're off track here. I think we've all got our own idea of what ought to be going on here. And we need to come together and create a strategic plan for Black Lake. And that's where we're at. John, you're gonna get tired of holding your hand up?
Thank you. All I wanted to do was clarify, this gentleman over here, we've got some cell phone issues going on. I don't know what your policy is, but we do have a secretary, and I think that's plenty enough notes, so I would suggest no electronics, shut them down.
Well, John, he did ask me if he could, and I said it's a public meeting, I don't have a problem. We're not trying to, you know, I'm getting used to things that I say, you know, like, let me know about your experience with the ramp, and then all of a sudden, there's a survey. And in my words getting turned around, like, I was in favor of deep water ramps, so here, I'm raining, now I'm out of order. But, you know, at least it's documented, I really don't care.
Okay.
It's public, and, you know, I want us to come together somehow and make some, progress and go forward on this lake. It's a wonderful place. And, you know, I'll say it, I'll say this. It's more than the lake. It's relationships. And what I'm seeing here is that relationships are being destroyed because people want their way in terms of what we ought to do with the lake. And that bothers me. I think relationships should come above the lake, but we need to work together and find that balance somehow. And I think that's what's in the strategic plan is all about. Because there's just, you know, all this stuff that's going on Facebook and other things. I can't go into town without somebody. Who's this guy? Who's this guy? What's going on? What's this all about? And I won't say that I'm embarrassed, but I just don't like it going on about people. People to me are more important than the lake. And we gotta keep that in mind and respect and trust one another through this process and help one another. Okay. I think, and thank you Boyd, I don't wanna cut you short, but, okay, what we have, the next part of this is, vision, mission, strategic planning. Did the board all bring copies?
Yep.
No? You're good. I knew you wouldn't have one. I got a couple more here if somebody needs them.
I have one.
I have one, I just have to
I-
find it.
This is something that,
Some for us?
Brenda, here's a couple. I'm sorry. Again, it's board kind of stuff and,
You know what, I can photograph it and send it out and,
Let's just go, just.
okay.
okay, what we have here is we have a strategic plan document, it says 216, and this is only the beginning. And the idea is that we want to talk about the vision that we have for this lake or an organization, what our mission is, you know, what's the process, what's the strategic plan. And let me just read this. And this is all proposed, by the way. Vision, preserve and protect Black Lake. That's why we think we're here. The mission is how we would accomplish that. Make a positive impact to the quality of life on Black Lake by pursuing activities which will protect and enhance ecosystem and water quality, swimming and recreation, boating and navigation, fishing, and all activities enjoyed by its users, while providing clear and timely communication and being a good steward of Black Lake Association resources. Okay? So that's our mission. Strategic plan. The Black Lake Association Strategic Plan has a 5-year horizon and will be reviewed and updated annually. The vision will be achieved by accomplishing the mission. The mission will be accomplished by completion of goals, objectives, and action plans developed and maintained by Black Lake Association committees and approved by the Black Lake Board of Directors. Committees will be staffed by Black Lake members and chaired by Black Lake board members. Each committee will provide and prioritize activities, create a budget, pursue completion of its plan, and review progress at Black Lake Association board meetings. The Board of Directors will provide general direction, have oversight of all committees, and allocate funding. The Black Lake committees are membership, communications, ecosystem and water quality, swimming and recreation, boating and navigation, fishing, and finance. Now, so those are the committees. Within each committee has there is a purpose for it, and again, it can go, this would fit pretty much into that. Each committee would have a purpose, there would be a budget for that committee. There's a chairperson, a list of the members, and then finally goals, and within goals, objectives, and within objectives, action plans. And that's true of all of the committees. So that's the proposal I'd like to present to the board. And in addition to that, you know, most strategic plans have SWOTs, which are strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You know, I'm not sure that might be a good exercise. You have values and beliefs that you should consider when you're developing your plan and all that. And again, I think that would be a good exercise, but I don't know that we need to develop them at that point. What I'm looking for here is a template that we can take and say, okay, this is who we are, this is what we're gonna do, and here are the committees and what they're gonna accomplish to make this all work to protect and preserve Black Lake.
Motion,
Oh.
make a motion so we can talk about it.
Okay,
Yeah, I move that, we approve, this draft Black Lake Association Strategic Plan 2016.
I'll second.
okay, discussion.
I think it's a good proposal. The only thing that I guess I'm concerned about is in one portion in there, we say that the committees are, chaired by a board member. I think possibly, if we could change that, so it'd be a Black Lake Association member, it might allow us an opportunity to get more people involved in the workings of the organization. I don't know if we
It's a
can.
great idea, Ron. I guess I'm walking around with a corporate hat on and,
Well, I just, you know.
board directors are normally chairman. That's a great idea.
However.
But if we're gonna do that, I think we ought to have a board member on the committee as a liaison.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, you have a liaison, but you don't have the board members.
Well, the chairman of a committee can be, it could be a board member, it could be any member of the Black Lake Association. Okay? I'll make that change.
Okay.
There's one other thing that just occurred to me, and that is that, these committees, ought to have, geographical diverse representation from people around the lake. And if I could amend that and put that in there, does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
The board will strive to have, diverse representation.
Yep.
Okay.
Bev, I'm sorry, I wasn't ignoring you.
Okay, I was just wondering, how does the board and the committee know what the members want? And how do they decide what actions to take?
Talking to him.
What?
Is there a formalized process for how you know what the members want?
Well-
Beach reps,
I guess if you want to, provide something, I mean, it's probably not a whole lot different than it is today. You would go to that committee. You could join that committee. Take your idea, your benefit, whatever you have, to that committee. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, there's 500 members, right? So
Yeah.
how do they find out what the 500 members want?
well, for one thing, One thing, we have a webpage, go ahead.
Yeah, beach reps. I mean,
We have beach reps.
my beach rep asked me, do I have any concerns, what's going on? And I don't know if every beach rep does it, but
All of my beach reps usually give me their concerns, they talk to everybody that they reach, and they usually pass that on to me. And I make note of it, tell whoever it involves, and that usually takes care of it.
Well, I
So
disagree
they do
because
have-
I've been to meetings where
they
people
do
don't know
have-
their beach reps are, so I wouldn't say that that's a perfect system at all.
Board members are on, I know
I don't know
everybody on my
any.
road. I mean,
Can I make a suggestion? Can we post this draft on your webpage?
no more place right now.
There's no more, like, we can't add anything onto the,
It's got pretty well filled right now.
okay,
Right
here's
now.
my
Well-
suggestion, to try to communicate an important document, which is, I believe, the number one driving force behind our organization. I think this should maybe take priority, or maybe we add more capacity to the webpage, but if we put this on the webpage and have done, because people are now signing up, they're getting their logins to say, do you wanna be on any of these committees? Or do you see a committee that we haven't addressed?
That can go in the newsletter too.
Well, the newsletters are not getting us back until, it's 2 more months and then people get back,
Well-
but I'm just saying to start
I'll ask Matt.
stimulating
Well-
I'll
discussion.
ask Matt if there's space where we can put it, someplace we can change things around.
Well, you can take off, I mean, we've got newsletters from 2010, I
Well,
don't think that's absolutely necessary.
Virgil, what's the schedule for this planning, or strategic plan? Is there a,
Well,
you know?
I guess, Dave, we wanna take our time and do it right. I wouldn't wanna do any budgeting activity until the committees have their plan together. I would just like to put a hold on all the stuff other than some administrative type expenses, things we gotta do to exist.
Well, I kinda get that idea that this thing's gonna be done by May 1st or whatever.
No,
No.
no, no,
And so
no,
everybody wants, so.
you know, no,
I
and.
agree with you. I think you ought to do it
It's about
right
a
the
year.
first time. Or as ready as you can.
The other thing is, this is a living document as well.
Yeah.
And so,
It's fluid.
yeah, and I think we oughta, my own opinion is, there is a motion on the floor, I think we oughta adopt it and understand that it is a fluid document and we can make changes to it as we go forward. And I think it ought to get out on, Cindy, I think we ought to do if we gotta spend some more money, I think it ought to be on the web as soon as we can get it out there.
So Virgil, are people going to be assigned to each one of these sections now, and then they'll be working on it? Or
No, not necessarily. Some of these, if you look down, membership, I said recruit and retain Black Lake Association membership, chairperson Sharon Dulac, you've got that committee. Mary Rocco's got communications, and Ron Dulac's got fishing, and Cindy is finance. And other chair areas are open. I think the chairperson should be approved by the board, if it's not gonna be a member of the board. I don't think that's a problem, but,
Who's the eco person then?
I don't know.
Well, we've got them filled, so how are you planning on going about filling these? Just don't know right
Well,
now.
what I would like to do is say, this is what we've adopted as a plan, put on the web, and we're looking for people to fill these positions, to put on these committees. Yeah, it's all theirs.
And
Rosalie?
I think that is a very good idea, and I think everybody would like that. I like the idea of committees, I would like to have discussions. I think that's an excellent idea. I think it should be adopted to look forward to, to work on for to bring back to the board the next meeting, which I think is May.
Yeah.
I support that, that's good. Let's get some committees going, I like that.
Can I ask one?
Virgil, why don't we call the question?
Okay. Well, Deb's got her hand up.
I still don't understand how you're gonna find out from the members, the 500 members of the association, what their goals and desires are. I mean, people don't,
Well, Bev, we haven't been very good at it in the past because in our typical meeting, we have 12 to 15 people. And anything that we get from people around the lake, we do bring to the board. And so we're looking for a wider distribution. I would think that the webpage would be, you know, a way to do that, to contact board members. I mean, you know, as this thing develops, we will add goals and objectives. It will be on the webpage. People can see that. You know, if they got other ideas, they can get involved and refine it.
You don't want this.
I don't want this to be the board's plan. I want it to be the organization's plan.
Virgil, can I, ma'am, excuse me, are you a Black Lake Association member?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you haven't paid your dues, I don't think.
Bev
Oh, yes,
Haas?
she has.
No, Bev
Huh?
Haas has not paid her dues. Silver Beach?
Is it Jim Haas?
Was it Bev on Silver Beach?
Yeah, I gave him to Mary this summer.
I
Well,
Well,
I have Waverly. I
It's
have-
not in the book.
You know what? Don't do this publicly. She's paid her
This
dues,
is a
they've got
public meeting,
multiple
and you just said
people.
that before.
Just let her ask the question, okay? Stop it.
Well,
Yes,
uh,
ma'am. Be happy to.
Bev, there's probably many ways.
I'm sorry, I don't have it down,
That's-
but Cindy said you did pay your dues.
Okay.
I apologize.
Yeah, great,
You don't have
good,
to.
that's
I
fair,
said it.
good.
Let's,
Do that again.
okay, Bev, I'm sorry.
I accept the apology,
Thank you.
Mr. Smith. Go ahead.
Well, I think that's a great thing, and, you know, I don't wanna throw this around, but part of what we gotta do in the communications area is find a way to get that kind of input.
But you have to
And-
get it out there. Here's what I think one of the challenges has been, is that, you know, you have a website, that's kind of one-way communication. What's helpful is to have the back and forth, which was, you know, was part of the impetus with the Facebook page, with, you know, people chattering among themselves. You can't rely on beach reps to funnel
No,
information to you
gotta
guys.
go-
Terry, I'm not saying that, that's just one avenue.
Yeah, one avenue, so that's what I'm
And-
suggesting,
and-
multiple
and
avenues, email blast, Facebook, you know, stuff on,
Yeah, I
you
mean.
know, good, okay, that, I mean,
I
so it's
mean,
back and forth.
what, you know, I really, this has been a very painful process, but I'm starting to feel like maybe we're on the the slope down, and we can make some progress and come together here.
Am I
All
allowed
right.
to say anything?
You certainly may,
Well,
Ms.
Kathy
Bonner.
stood in and gone to 3 different beaches and trying to speak to every person at the beach when I stepped in for someone else, not knowing these people, them not knowing me not knowing them. The thing that I find, and I think your best approach is exactly what you're doing, you do the webpage, you have your officers on there, and you count on your beach reps. You're gonna have to do all 3. Because if you're really truly a beach rep, and you go talk to these people, there's a lot of them that don't really give a rep. It's hard for you to believe that. I've come here for 22 years, and I have never seen half of the people that are at this meeting right now here before. And I wanna thank the board for all that they're doing, because ever since I've been here, they certainly have done a good job of taking care of the lake. But it is a very difficult job to communicate with all of these people and to try to catch them. And the only time you can catch them is on the weekend of the 4th of July. And that's when I went all 3 years. And they're interested in buying raffle tickets then. They're all having parties. A lot of them don't even know who owned the cabin. It's really strange situation as far as I can see. I just think if you go all 3 ways that you're going, you're gonna do the best you can unless somebody else can come up with a better situation. I don't know how you're gonna get them when everything's in flux.
Just keep working at it. That's
Yes,
all we can
just
do.
keep working at it. You get the beach reps, you get your names on that web page, and then you get your communication out there.
I have a question. Give me just a moment. I have a question. The strategic plan, you want it on the website? Do you want it in the members only, or do you want it on the open area?
Geez. I would really like to make this public. I don't, the only thing that I think here is if we put the budget figure, somebody might see this as an opportunity to come and try and sell something to us, but I think we ought to let other organizations know what we're doing. I mean,
Okay, so you want it in the open area?
yeah.
Yeah, for example, I looked at the Akiak Watershed webpage.
And that was really excellent, what I saw there.
Well, I really want this to be excellent, and we need your help to do it. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, Roger.
Yeah, as the maker of the motion,
Yes,
okay, that's still on the floor.
you're gonna call the question?
No, I think we're still in discussion, correct?
Okay.
Okay, I understand this is a working document. I understand we need to get things starting to move. I've been on other committees where when you start a working draft, it can take a year, 2 years, people arguing over what word should be in there versus another word. So I hope we don't get broiled down into this kind of mess. So I see this as a great starting point. You said it's a working document. If we get it out there, people see it and have changes, we can then change it. But I think we need at least to get it out there and say, this is our working draft we're gonna work with now
Yeah.
until we have a final draft.
Okay,
Okay, so
any more discussion? Great, we ready to vote? Okay, all those, now, there's some changes here, that they'll be staffed by Black Lake staffed and chaired by Black Lake Association members, and there'll be an attempt made to provide a geographical diversity within each committee. Those are the two changes, okay? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Good, motion passed. Hey, that feels good. Ron, there's nothing to well, go ahead.
Well,
Upper Black Lake.
yeah, I just wanted to say that I've done some investigation. Nobody has contacted me regarding having meetings or doing anything related to this subject. Brenda and Billy Chris came to the last one of the last meetings and talked about that there is a problem. Since then, I've talked to Mike Burley, who lives right at the entrance of the river there, and he said, yes, there is a definite problem out there. There's a small channel going out. He said boats are getting stuck out there all the time, running aground, and that it is a problem for those people right there. From there, I went to talked to the DNR, the Fisheries Division, talked to Dave Borgensen, and he said he would be more than happy to help anything that he could. He said there is a problem because of the two outlets of the Black River. He said when high flows has a tendency to compound that problem. After I talked to him, I talked to a fella with the DEQ because they said we have to go to them to get a permit. And he said, yeah, he says, I really don't know anything about your problem, but I'd be more than happy to help you get the permit. He said, but you might want to talk to the Corps of Engineers. So I talked to a guy at the Corps of Engineers, and very surprisingly, he said that the Corps of Engineers has no responsibility for the upper Black River because it's not necessarily a navigable river. He said, so you won't need a permit from us. So as a result, and nobody is responsible for the sand getting out there. So if something is to be done, it's gonna have to be paid for by somebody. And if it costs between, I don't know, I'm guessing $200,000 to $400,000 to do it, if it's $400,000, we found that there's 823 residents around the lake. It would only cost us $500 a piece, unless we can find some grant money. So it's a big problem. And the other part of it is that we can correct the problem and potentially in a number of years it'll be back. So it's a fantastically large problem. Nobody's responsible. The people living right there would like to have something done. So I think we have to do some figuring of what do we really wanna do? What's the real problem? What does that problem cause? How can they be fixed and go on and see where we can find money? It's a big problem.
Well, I think.
And nothing is done right now, so we just have to wait. I don't know if you wanna add anything, Brenda? It's a
I think
concern.
though, you know, because it's on our lake, I think we ought to be part of the group, but I don't know that we really ought to fund it. But, you know, before this is fixed, and something that could be done prior to this, is find out where the sand is coming from and take corrective action. I mean, that's what needs to be done, because if we pull it out of there, it's just gonna come back in anyway.
Well,
And
Borgeson did say that that's all state land back up in there mostly, and the Surgeon for Tomorrow has done a lot of river bank restoration to stop a lot of that eroding. And, I don't know, we still have some of the problem. And I guess as an association, this is not gonna be something that we can fix tomorrow. It's something we're gonna have to get into and work on it, so.
what's your recommendation? Should we continue to follow this as an agenda item?
Virgil, one more before he makes it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, one more. I talked to tribal members, and the dam at Kleiber, I guess is how it's
Kleber.
pronounced.
Kleber.
Yeah,
Kleber.
was on their radar, but they are not going to take any action on that because of funding reasons, et cetera, et cetera.
What action did they anticipate?
They were considering taking it out, like they've done with other rivers. So they have no desire at this point to do that. So that would have an impact on what Ron's talking about too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
the
take,
impact.
they take the dam out, it caused a heck of a flow, you know,
It
to
would
start with,
be a
and
lot of
could
silt
cause,
down there.
yeah, you know, so,
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
so is this something we just keep on
I-
the radar? and not
Yes, I
follow?
think we should keep it on the radar. I'll
Okay.
keep talking to different people and seeing what we can do, and if something comes up, and Brenda will do the same, I'm sure, with Sturgeon for Tomorrow, because they're concerned. You know, so it's a heck of a problem, and I don't know if there's an easy solution to it.
The river has all been mapped, there's sites, pictures, lake
Yeah.
links, and, you know, Huron Pines, and the Black River Restoration Council, Black Lake Association, when we did the Black Lake Watershed Plan. It's in there, a lot of those things have just gotten progressively worse.
Gonna get worse and continue to get bad until we begin to slow them down. But I think it was over 50 years it was dredged. It's been 50 years. We need to address it. Because overall, it's, the health of the lake really is in the stream as well.
So Virgil, it sounds like no one is taking point on this issue.
Mhm.
The DNR's not, the DEQ, the Corps of Engineers, it doesn't sound like anyone's taking charge of this, so, I don't see the Black Lake Association as the one, heading this all up, so I guess the best thing to do is set back and wait and see what develops and be
Well,
part of
yeah.
the solution.
We'll just keep an eye on it, I think.
We should participate, whatever. I don't know who, Brenda, do you have an idea who would take the lead on this?
When it was brought to I live on that river for
Yeah, I
6
know,
weeks in
I
the
know.
spring, and so you see it.
Yeah, I know.
It's bad.
I think we just have to keep beating the drum, and that's what I did when we did the 4 different sites upstream. Is you just have to keep bringing it up, put it on your calendar once a month, keep bringing it up, keep the conversation going, and maybe in a couple of years, we may get some people together to say, okay, we know that this is a big gorilla, how do we make it happen? We have a plan, you have to have a plan to go and get funds, and there will be funds, because Black Lake is special and we'll get funding.
Okay.
It's true. So
All
we
right.
just have to keep
I think we
That's-
chased that one in the hole.
Yeah.
Let's, next item on the agenda is fundraising activities.
No, 10, you're on 10.
Oh, I'm in 10, what'd I do? Oh, I'm sorry, I marked off the wrong one, that's all right. Project proposals to improve the Black Lake experience. This was something we put on the agenda some time ago and never got to. We're looking for ideas on how we could improve the quality of life on Black Lake. Hopefully, most of this, or all of it, would be a part of a strategic plan. But again, we're open to anything that anybody would suggest that would make life better here. Free beer tomorrow, maybe, or, did you have, don't record that.
I would like to have fish shelters built around the lake so that we can save the fingerlings from being food for other predators, so that we'll have a better fishery.
Well, the bad news is we don't have any fingerlings because the walleye aren't reproducing.
Well, yeah, and they can't
But,
reproduce if they don't have any place to hide.
Well, no, it's a spawning problem,
Right.
is what it is at this point. But I think, you know, the association has put in fish shelters for a number of years, and, it's not a bad idea. It doesn't help protect, it doesn't protect the fish that much. All the studies I've read, it doesn't help protect the fish that much, but what it does is it helps the fisherman who wants to take his kids out on the lake and catch fish. Because if he knows where the fish shelter is, he's gonna get fish. So, Roger?
Yeah, a couple years ago, this issue we're talking about, fish shelters, along with putting gravel in for spawning.
Spawning beds.
We had about 5 different issues about the fish and what we were gonna do. I did a little research on it. There's some lakes in the UP that are putting fish shelters in. Brevoort Lake is one, and then in the western UP, there's others. It's not something you just get a group of people to throw things out and call it a day. You have to have DEQ permits, because you are putting things in the lake. You also have the DNR involved because of navigation issues if it's not deep enough. So it's quite involved. You need a big group to do it. You need people that will cut the logs, put them together, work with the DNR, DEQ, GPS where they go. So it's a big project, and you're right, Virgil, the jury's out on whether this helps the little ones get bigger.
All the studies I said,
Right.
read it said it doesn't do it, but I think that's something for the fish committee, to be involved in, and Jeff, I think that'd be a great opportunity for you.
I think I'll join the fish committee, even though I am not much of a fisherman.
We'll put your name right down.
Any other projects? Yeah,
I think once we get the strategic plan together, I think the different committees will come back with a whole bunch of
All right,
projects that we get into, so I think we can just, end the discussion on that particular one. Bert?
okay. Number 11, fundraising activities. Well, I'm not gonna say anything yet. Anybody got?
For what?
Well, I don't wanna embarrass the person to put this on the agenda, but
Well, I just think.
maybe you could help.
Okay. I just think that it ought to be brought out in front of everybody, that the fundraising activities, we always get into it. We should talk about what the need for raising the funds and so forth. And right now, I don't know if we particularly have any needs, so we probably don't have any reason to have fundraising at this time.
Well, here,
You know, so it's just something that we ought to talk about from time to time.
Here's the thing, I think the needs for funds will come out of the committee plans. But the issue for fundraising is a long lead time item. You know, for example, with our raffle that we had in the summer, you know, we had to submit paperwork to the government in January to get a permit that we could start using in May, because it took that long. And you gotta have tickets printed with the number on, all that good stuff. So if we do decide to get into a raffle situation, and that's the easiest way to make money, I think. That's a long lead time, activity, so. And again, if you got any other activities, I think I've been to a lifetime of spaghetti dinners, that kind of stuff, so. But certainly, any ideas you got would be appreciated. Brenda?
We're having the Chivalry February 5th and 6th, and if you have a raffle, you have time. If you have a raffle,
It'd be very tight.
yeah, you have time to figure out, you know, what it is you wanna give away, get your license, get your items. We would give you space.
Give us space.
We have a wooden boat.
I will make an executive
We do have a
decision on
vote.
our
We do have a
board
vote.
to give BLA space
Wow.
to interact with the people.
Okay,
We get about 2,200 people
yeah, we do have a vote.
in those 2 days.
If you wanna talk
And they're
about
pretty much sportsmen and women. Think about it.
Yeah, we will. We can think about it.
Oh, and
Yeah, I'd like to get that boat out of my barn.
Yeah,
Anybody got an idea how to move a beautiful boat?
I think, of
Lush Snow Islands, when they have their boat show.
yep,
In Cedarville.
especially the wood boat show up there. That's what I thought.
Well, let's plan on that next year. I gotta get it out of there. Any more on fundraising? General membership meeting. At the general membership meeting, what occurs there is, election of, directors. There are three, whose terms have expired this year. Mine, Ron's, and Cindy's. And so, there'll be election for those three positions. Approval of any bylaw changes as well would be done, at the general membership meeting. In the general membership meeting, we would typically have, there's 2 or 3 people that have volunteered to, or expressed interest in coming and speaking at that. Tim Slowinski from the DNR, the Tip of the Mitt, which I think would be an appropriate kind of thing, or a group to come in as well, and talk about our watershed area, our lake, and that kind of stuff. And it's typically a potluck as well. So what we need to do is find a date. Now, right now, we do this in June, and the reason we do it in June is our membership runs from July 1 till the end of June. So July, if we do it in June, we know who all the members are that have paid dues. By our bylaws, in order to vote, you would have had to pay dues. And so that's why we do it in June. Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible to do it in July or August. It just makes the task more difficult. You understand where I am on that?
The beach reps would have to have everything in.
Yeah, and that's why we've done, that's why we do it, that's why we do it in June.
That's why it's traditionally been done in June, because
Can I
that's
ask a question? I thought on the
membership.
webpage it said that it was July 11th. It's already been posted.
What?
What?
The, membership meeting.
No.
No, we haven't set
No.
the meetings.
I don't think so.
There's no meeting.
Go ahead.
All right. I was surprised.
It says on the website, we have a meeting the second Monday of every month, from May until October.
Well,
Okay,
We don't,
it may have been before this last updating go around, but, okay, it's fine, I'm just asking clarification.
well, we need to set a date.
For what,
I
the
mean,
general meeting?
Yeah,
The second Monday in June,
at the potluck.
at the potluck.
okay.
I'll make a motion that we have the general meeting the second Monday in June at our potluck. Same as we have every year.
You don't have to be at the potluck, but the meeting starts at 7:30, so,
Yeah, 6:30 for the potluck.
right,
Is there a second?
I second it.
Discussion. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Can
Okay,
I just ask for clarification? Because you said that at that time it's also when the bylaw changes are voted on, is the general membership vote on bylaw changes?
Yes,
And then it's done at the membership meeting,
correct,
which is in June.
June,
And that's how it's always done.
yeah. And Bo, that was because of, not knowing who had paid their dues in July or August. I mean, that was reason for it being done in June.
And so our membership, even though we're a board-governed association, our membership always gets to vote on bylaw changes.
That's correct.
It's in our bylaws that they do.
Okay, I'm just clarifying.
I have a question about that. So when it was changed in, September, for it to be a board-driven, so then that was voted on by all the current members that showed up at that meeting, is that?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And how were they notified? Because it seems people, other than the newsletter.
How many communications did we put out?
I don't know, how
Five,
many
six,
did you?
seven?
Because a lot of people were unaware
Several.
of it, so tell
Several.
me.
Yeah, we put a lot out.
So maybe with the.
Like what?
It was
They don't get better.
it was put out and they were made available on the webpage.
And the webpage
and
was operational at that
Not
time?
this one, another one was, yes.
Another one was operational at that point.
Yes.
And we also, hand-delivered to those people that didn't have the capability.
That did
from
what?
like- That didn't have web capability.
Okay,
How did you know who had what capabilities?
They called and asked for them.
so in the letter,
Shannon? Go ahead.
you talk about, that there was, proposed about changing the governance, spring 2014, the e-newsletter? Okay, so I see here, you have proposed bylaws supporting changes. What was the communication subsequent to that, that there would be a vote and that the board would end up taking
The beach
control?
reps and
Didn't-
people at the meeting and, you know,
I'm a beach rep, I don't recall getting
No.
a date on the membership.
I think it's,
In my packet.
well, I guess, Bo, it was the beach reps that were attending the meeting.
Okay, I attend every July and August meeting.
so then you didn't put out, it's a pretty big deal, so you didn't email anybody, you didn't send another
No.
letter?
We
you-
just announced it at meetings.
Pardon me?
We announced it at the meetings,
Okay.
we discussed it at the meetings.
I understand, but there are times when people can't get there. I had a full-time job at the time. Well,
I'm
don't
sorry.
shake your head at me. Other
I said
people
I'm
have these
sorry.
challenges too, where you can't get to a meeting if you have a job and you can't show up on a Monday night. What I'm asking, what I'm driving at, is that this was a very big decision. It's left a lot of people upset, and a lot of people don't understand, and they didn't know. What going forward are you planning on doing to let people know, what their voting rights are? We're paying to fund this organization.
We've already said, it's the webpage, it's the newsletters, it's things like that, talking.
One
with people.
newsletter, and how would you know to go to the webpage? You just told us that you can't even post everything because
Point of
there's not
order,
enough
Virgil.
room. I mean, how would we know
Yeah.
to
Well,
go?
we said it's gonna be on there,
Pardon me?
like this draft, it's gonna be on there, we're gonna find a place and put it on there.
But beyond the people in this room, how are you letting the rest of the membership know, those who weren't able to make it?
Well, how does any other meeting go?
Well,
Well-
here's how we do it in the junior league. We do an email blast several times. We have a Facebook page. We do what's called push notifications. Those are notifications that go out, unlike pull notifications, which is what going to a website is.
I wish you'd have come to our meetings about 3 years ago.
I wish I had
Rather-
been working 3 years ago,
Well,
believe me.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but we just try to do the best that we can,
You
and
know
that's what
what?
has
I
been done.
agree that you're
you
doing
know?
the best that you can,
Okay.
and I think that there are other people who are trying to be helpful, and there are other members who are very interested. It's really not a big deal. It's an email blast. If you
Yeah.
have the email addresses, why don't you
Well,
just
and we don't
email
have the
people?
email.
we don't have
addresses.
this, Terry, but, I
We're sending
I
it,
think, I think we made an effort. There was a lot of business done I'll tell you, there was a lot of business done when there were more officers at our membership meetings than there were members. And we're conducting business for an organization that's got 600 members in it. That's one of the reasons we went to the board structure. And, because theoretically, someone could come in there with an agenda and make a motion, and if they had more people than the rest of them for that item, it got passed.
But if you have an adequate notice and people know
We
what
need-
to
we
show
need-
up for.
Terry, I really, I understand, and we wanna make an earnest and honest effort to do that.
Then really, please do that. Please get some email. I've offered to help with that. I know you have email addresses, cause you have to use it to get on the
I don't have
website.
permission to
I
give
really,
them out.
I'm asking you to please make more
Yeah.
of an
Terry,
effort,
Terry,
because
I think that we had said at the last meeting or the time before, when we send out the newsletter, we ask people, you know, to send their email addresses in.
If they want it.
When we do it now, and we're sending a big blanket mailing out, we will be asking all of them to send their email addresses in. You know,
But do
so
you
that
explain
should
to them,
really
you know, why
help.
it's so important? Because, you know, the Black Lake Association's a big deal to us, but probably not as big a deal to a lot of other people. So, you know, I'm just saying you should give them a reason why we need to get in touch with you, because there are, you know, votings that are going on, and then maybe you wouldn't have, you know, all of us would be more clear. I think that's what people want, so. Can you do that?
I think we
or-
indicated in the past that we were going to put a note or a return slip in the newsletter this year, asking people if they will give us their email address and whether they want that email address put into the directory. And we're going to do that so that we will be able to get that information from them.
So in 2016, you'll be making this,
If you're
Thing.
gonna do
Hopefully.
that, could you also please, on the same piece of paper, just ask them, how do you prefer to get it?
Right.
Some people prefer to get a text,
right?
and that is just as easy.
Well, the system will text them.
Well, Terry, would you make up a little brochure of the information that we should put in the newsletter and give it to us, and then we will put it in the newsletter?
No, I'm not gonna do that, and here's why. You are required in the bylaws, and maybe you should go ahead and review those. You have to give sufficient and clear notification to your membership.
Of what?
Bylaw changes.
Of
We're
bylaw
not
changes,
I'm not-
Ron.
30 days.
I'm not
You
talking.
made bylaw
Hey,
changes, you
no,
didn't make.
that's not what I think.
Ron, look
Terry,
at the
he's
bylaws.
asking for some help in communicating,
I think the
and not-
communications committee can help with that
Right.
section of the newsletter to get the information that you want.
I think that's all Ron's asking for. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, could you tell me, how do you run for office? Or how do people know who's running for office ahead of time? Or do you get nominated? Okay, can you go through that process of
Okay,
elections?
well, in the past, what occurred, it was a little different arrangement because, I think the terms were 4 years and,
Staggered.
yeah, they were staggered for 4 years, and in my case, I came in as a vice president. I was vice president 2 years, and then I was president 2 years, and I was vice president 2 years, and I was president for 2 years, and I was vice president for 2 years, and president for 2 years. And now, and when I came in, I was nominated I was nominated by an individual who wrote a letter to the officers of the Black Lake Association. And believe it or not, I was vetted. I thought I saw the man in the room that did that for me. Yeah, he's back in the back.
So you're
He
saying.
came to my house and wanted to know why I wanted to do it, what I was bringing to the association, was I a man of good character, and all this kind of stuff. And we've kind of, I think I was the only one that was vetted. That might indicate that some people had a problem with me. I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about it. But Nominations can come from any place. They can come from letters from people, they can be people that express an interest to the board that they want to be a part of the board. And those will also be delivered or identified at the same time, a month early. They will also be a part of the notification of any bylaw changes. Or if there are no bylaw changes, there would be a notice going out 30 days prior saying, these are the candidates that are running for a board of director office. And we changed the bylaws also so that under the new organization, the office of president cannot exceed a 2-year term. So if two consecutive terms. Two consecutive terms. You could be off and come back on as president, but just to bring some variety into the mix. So it's really getting your name and your desire or the person that you would like to have. I think really haven't talked to the board, but you know, we might take a look at an individual and make sure that, you know, or talk with them to make sure that their interest is there and that they have the skill set and the desire to contribute. You know, in the case of Bo, I think I approached Bo and I said, hey, you've done a lot for the organization. I think you can contribute on the board of directors. Would you consider running? And she accepted. I presented the proposal to the board and they concurred with it. So.
And then she was placed on the ballot?
There's no ballot.
At that time, there was not a ballot. There will be if we got several members. There'll have to be ballots.
Okay, so we will do then a ballot.
There will be a ballot.
Okay.
And again, it's 2 votes per membership. So there'll be 2 ballots per membership. And yeah.
And so the board has to approve nominees? I don't think, is that written in the bylaws?
It's not written in the bylaws, Bo.
Okay, so then anyone can be nominated to run?
Yes.
Well, you know, we have, because of liability and that kind of stuff, we typically don't consider people with felons, you know.
Oh, yeah, if you've got a record, probably.
Yeah, but
Not a
we
good
have,
choice.
we don't do background checks, but we, you know, I asked one individual who I won't name, who I thought would do a good job, and he said, boy, I'd really like to, but he says, I can't. And I said, why not? He says, I have a felony. And I didn't know that, and obviously I'm not gonna say who that is, but I was really surprised.
I would think that one of the main requirements are that anybody that would want to be on the board of directors should believe and be able to support the mission statement and the bylaws of the association, because we certainly don't want somebody who has contrary views on what our mission is. So I think as a board, I think we do have some say in whether a person is nominated and put on. I would think that we should look at that.
Can we go back to the record, though, it's not in the bylaws?
It's not in the bylaws, but I think, we, you know,
But if it's.
from common sense, yeah.
You would have to believe, how could you serve and not believe it?
Well,
You'd have to be able to understand the bylaws, and more about your ability to adhere to the bylaws, right?
Yeah.
You know, you understand these are the bylaws, and you have the mental capacity, or the
Right.
intelligence to,
Right.
honesty to adhere to it, yeah.
And if you don't believe in it, why would you want to serve?
I have no idea,
Right.
exactly.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Bylaws would change, so I mean, I
It's-
think that it's fluid, so I mean, I wouldn't get too hung up on that personally.
Point of order, where are we on the agenda?
Under general.
Well, I'm gonna
membership,
I have a
we're still
question about
discussing
that, so
in
we'll
the
go ahead and
election
we'll get there.
coming up.
What's
We'll
that?
invite remarks. I have some questions about, the bylaws, but go ahead and finish.
Well, okay.
Thanks for answering that.
All right, the next item here then is, annual banquet. We go through this process every year. The first question we ask is, are we gonna have a banquet this year? And the second question is, who's going to chair it? And the chair is the person that selects where it's going to be, and what it's gonna be, what the program is. That's really their responsibility. So, first question, do we wanna have a banquet this year?
I think it would be nice to have a banquet,
I
not
think a
just,
social banquet.
and have a social banquet, that we've had one
What's
every
a-
year.
What's a
It's-
social banquet?
Not so
You
much
go
on
there and have fun
fundraising.
and converse with people.
You sit on a couch and drink?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
and have a good meal.
And then
It
you
isn't
fall
a
Yeah.
down.
fundraiser.
Right.
I think that's the thing, it's just not a fundraising banquet, just to, I think, Linda put a very nice banquet together, and we had Elvis Presley come. Mary put a very nice banquet together, and we had Chinese auction and some things that went on. Everybody went there, everybody had a ball,
Good.
I think, it just, do we wanna have one? I would like to have one, but I don't,
All right,
So who's gonna chair it?
that's the question. Are there any volunteers to chair the banquet? Okay,
I think all of us up here have done it for a couple of years.
then I guess we
I've
won't have a
worked on
banquet.
it with my cousin for years.
I think maybe we should find somebody.
That might be another throw into the correspondences is, we've always had a banquet. We're looking for ideas for a banquet for this year, see if somebody steps up.
Right.
And maybe the banquet isn't a banquet, maybe it's a luau on the beach or something, but I mean, it's still, you can sit and have beers running.
And we're not having a raffle, so we don't have to have anything planned, we just need somebody that's gonna start to put together. Yes, Brian?
Yeah, Virgil, I think what we do need to plan is to give whoever is going to chair this, how much the tickets are gonna be, how much you can
Well-
spend for the meal, et cetera, so.
Well,
we
that
need,
depends on the
we need,
race.
if we're gonna do a
Depends where
banquet,
it
we need a
is.
date. I mean, we don't need it tonight, but, we need a date, we need a price and a place. And,
Before the newsletter goes out.
Yeah. And, so we can, continue to, recruit on this, I guess. Okay? Let's move on to the Black Lake Association newsletter. And, what we typically do is talk about the articles that we want to have in that. This is a meeting that we generally have, in the past, it's been an officers' meeting, during the first or second week of January. And, we're typically the ones that would write the articles or get the articles, and we have it, but I was hoping to get that done early this year. I don't know if it's something we can do tonight or not. The newsletter generally consists of a president's letter, which can be whatever's on his mind at the time, I guess. It's generally what happens. And,
You generally recap what happened.
I
in the last-
recap, yeah. I try and bring some theme into it, but people don't appreciate my weird sense of humor. So, I'll try not to do that this year. Then we have, articles of, interest, mainly, a recap of what the committees are doing, fish committee, all that. We got a number of committees. I guess, this year I would write an article about the strategic plan, would be probably to be the president's message and the transition from a member governed to a board governed association, and then, deal with the strategic plan. But, So I guess each committee ought to think about an article that they wanna include in the newsletter.
But one thing that I would like to put in a newsletter, some time ago, we wrote a questionnaire on there asking our membership, what was important to them and what they wanted the Black Lake Association to do. And we talked about things, we listed things like clean water, improving the fishery, weed control, and we went through a whole bunch of things. And I think we can do that again this year and ask them to return that with their priorities. Where do they wanna do? Do they wanna have, number one, for clean water that we want us to work on? Do we wanna work on improving the fishery? Do we wanna work on, better communications for Swimmer's Itch?
Or an area for comments.
Yeah, you know, in a place at the bottom with a comment, something else.
Can I make a suggestion? Since we have a draft of a strategic plan, list those and see if there's another committee that may need to be formed. I mean, only because I look at, ecosystem and water quality, that can be a huge, huge undertaking. It maybe needs to be broken up into 2 committees, and maybe that member input can give us that.
If the membership wants to do that, I think I would support that.
I mean,
You know,
just what,
but-
I mean, just as a start, instead of
Yeah.
just saying specific things, say, here are our outline of our committees. What are the key points those committees, you know, what should their goals and objectives be to kind of lead us, to help develop our strategic plan?
Well, I just thought that we would put something up with a number of different things and just get that information back, and then we can take that information and give it to the committee members. I was doing it the other way around. So,
You're also
you know.
gonna put something in there about if they wanna be in a directory?
Well, that's another thing that we wanna put in, and we could add that right to it, as to whether they wanna be in a directory and whether they wanna have emails and see whether they wanna go into communication and how we want to do that. But we get feedback. The only thing wrong with that is we did that back in, I don't know, 2008, and we got a whopping 7% back of them.
Well,
And we sent out, you know, hey, you know, we sent out 500 and got back,
I guarantee you, this year you'll get more, especially if we, you know,
Well,
put it on
hey,
Facebook that it's
I
coming.
understand.
And you could do a survey on Facebook too, as well.
well,
Yeah, have a Survey Monkey.
well, yeah, okay,
Virgil,
Yes.
Bob has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bev?
When you send out your newsletters, where do you send it to? Do you send it to Black Lake address, or do you send it to the?
They're a downstate address, and I just did them all.
Okay. That's good. Thank you.
And this year, the newsletter will be going out to, they will be going out to everybody who has property around the lake. There's gonna be about 823 of them.
830.
830, sorry, 830 newsletters will be mailed out, knowing that we only have roughly 500 members. So,
So you'll be weighing on what's important to them too, or are you gonna pull that? or
Trying to
how
get
you-
more members.
well,
Well,
Try
if
to
they're
get more
a member, they
members,
have
sure.
If they have a say, if they're a member.
we'll send them,
Say if they're male, okay.
Right.
we'll send them a remittance envelope, we'll send it with that stuff, and if they wanna join at that time, okay, and we'll see what feedback we get from that.
So can I just ask if anybody has anything they wanna put in the newsletter to get it to me by January, by the 1st of January?
First of January 1.
Yeah,
Yeah, and,
About 3, so we
Yeah.
get a day off.
oh, there you go.
and the other thing to note, that normally our newsletter is 6 pages.
Yeah, we try to keep it to 6
Because
for
with the
mailing
6
purpose.
pages and the remittance envelope, that's, the maximum for a standard stamp.
Yeah,
And we didn't wanna get into extra mailing, so the article should be, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. Last year, we had Tim Slawinski put an article in there that was about 2 pages.
It's a
you
big
know,
article.
Took it
That was on fish,
Took
so,
most of the
but,
newsletter.
you know,
Well, I think what we're saying is, we're looking for something from each committee. And, we're gonna get back to Sharon, January,
January.
January, and
Terry
then,
said the third, then you can have the weekend.
and then
off.
we probably ought to have another meeting.
Stuff envelopes.
Well,
Yeah, nobody's gonna be here to stuff envelopes.
Yeah.
except
So
Ron
we
and
would
I.
I'm
be
gonna be in
happy to
Florida,
communications
but I
committee
hope.
to offer assistance.
Sure,
but,
I'll
no,
remember that.
my point was, I
It's
think
gonna
we,
be easier. It
What?
is gonna be
It
easier.
is gonna be
It's
easier,
gonna be
we don't
easier.
have to put all the labels on.
You
You're
got
right.
it. Okay.
Go
I
ahead,
had to
Burge.
put that in.
well, I still feel a need to, this newsletter is important, and I feel a need for another meeting to review what that
Yeah.
product is. And,
Well, you're gonna have to call Linda and I, because we're gonna be 5 minutes away, and
oh, you're gonna
we'll
be in
get
Fort
together.
Myers, I know.
yeah, we'll be having our drinks while you guys are meeting, and we'll listen.
I thought you drank, never mind. During the meeting. No, just kidding. Okay, we'll call that meeting when it occurs. Hey, we're doing better. Oh, Ron,
Yeah, one thing, you know, we talked, the newsletter, we talked about other things, and we talked about the, our bylaws. I would like to, I'd like to make a motion on the bylaws. Can I do that? Am I in the right place? Okay.
yeah, I don't care.
Uh, That the bylaws be reviewed annually by the board of directors, and any recommended changes will be distributed to the Black Lake members at least 30 days prior to the annual meeting, to be approved by the members at that meeting.
That's what it says in the bylaws.
So, bylaw,
Wait, read that again, I'm trying to,
Okay.
what's the difference?
that the
there?
bylaws be reviewed annually by the board of directors,
Once a year.
and any recommended changes will be distributed to the members at least 30 days prior to the annual meeting.
Can
Okay.
I add to that, please? That we need to notify them of the date of the meeting. That's what the problem is. I mean, to say we're considering, here's 30 days, we're considering making these changes, and you don't tell them what date you're going to vote.
Second Monday of the month.
Yeah,
Second Monday of May, the second
Okay.
Monday of June.
so,
Well,
well,
we don't know which meeting. What
We're gonna
meeting
vote in
would the
June.
voting take place
It's
at?
gonna be
It- it-
presented.
Annual
in May.
meetings, the
June,
second
in
Monday in
In
June.
June, okay.
yeah, no, yeah, the date needs to be on there as well.
It's gonna go on the website as soon as this meeting is done.
All right, there's a motion, is there a second?
Yes.
Okay. Now we can discuss it.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
We could put the date, or we could put the second Monday of May
It'll
and the
be
second
going on the
Monday
website.
of
The
June.
meeting minutes or dates will be going on the website now. We just had to get this meeting in.
I
and then it'll
think,
come off and
I think all that Bo is asking for is, here are bylaw changes, proposed bylaw changes that that you need to vote on, and we're gonna vote on them on the 11th of June, or whatever that date is, second Monday in.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question? Are you the only entity that can propose bylaw changes?
Yeah.
The members get, the
So
members
then
don't-
you could
You
make all these.
bring, you can bring them to us, I mean,
Yeah,
we're
but we
not,
could bring it to you, you could say, nah, right?
Yeah.
Well, no,
No, we'll
the board
discuss
has
it.
to vote.
yeah.
So,
No.
just go to your home or call you, or how do we get a hold of
No.
you to get, if we wanna input on the bylaws?
Call,
Call.
Okay, so let me get this straight. We can give you a suggestion,
Right.
and
you don't
we-
have to take it.
That's right.
well, the board report.
Then what is the
review
point of
attorney.
even having a
Because
membership?
you give the suggestion, the board reviews it, and then we vote. We're individual people. We all have our own mind. We're individual people, so. we
I'm
take-
aware of that, but, there are certain bylaws that I'm pretty sure you're gonna support, that I'm pretty sure many members would like to see amended, and now you tell me that all I can do is vote on bylaws that you guys are proposing, or the membership can vote on bylaws, so we have no say in trying to amend the bylaws. Is that accurate?
What you do is.
That's what the motion
Is
said.
put your members on the board, and then you have a voice. Just as simple as that.
Oh, I know
Get
that.
your
I
people that
understand
wants
that.
to be on the board,
Right.
have them run, be elected, and make the changes.
I
Pretty
get
simple.
that, yes, I understand
I
that.
think, Terry, anybody can give us suggestions on board changes. You know, I mean.
Oh, I'm aware of that, we
on
can
board
suggest,
changes. I
but
mean,
you're not required, because the membership really has no power or influence, so it's really the
Oh, I'm
board
sure we're
can
gonna go
do.
with what the
But
most of the
I'm sure
membership
everybody
wants.
would look at
We've
it and.
got 500 people, 500
Oh, okay, so
members.
let's say you get 300 requests for change the bylaw to bippity
Then we have to
boppity boo
change
or
it.
something,
I mean,
then
that
you
only
would.
makes common sense. We can't just sit here and say, no, we're not changing it, 300 people want it, but we're not gonna change it.
Okay,
No,
so you
that's not
just, so
right.
we just get a committee and then,
Let me give an example, Virgil. I'm a member. I say the bylaws, I want the bylaws changed to be one sentence, and the one sentence is disband Black Lake Association and turn the money and blow it up into fireworks. Now, I submit that to the board.
Right.
The board then decides whether to accept that as a bylaws change. What is wrong with that? I don't understand what we're discussing.
Okay,
You're
that-
trying to say that the membership has no input. I'm a member, I had input, the board didn't like my input, so they voted not to do this. So I don't
I
understand.
don't know either what you're
I
talking
think what Terry is trying to say is that the general public who is not members of the board, who are not on the board, should have a say in what is in those bylaws,
We got agreement there.
okay?
We're in agreement.
Okay,
Okay?
that's all I said.
And not necessarily the 6 or 10 or board members that there are. The general membership should have a say in it. And what was being proposed there is that, yes, that's fine, but the board has the final say, and I'm saying that, no, that's not right.
Right, that's what we're saying, is that,
So, I guess I'm a little confused that if we have one person come in and say that they wanna make a bylaw change, and we don't agree with that change, then the board is violated that one person's.
No, we're talking about a majority
That's
of
what
the
you're saying.
membership.
but we're saying that you would put it on the table at the meeting and say the membership has proposed, A, B, C, D, not,
And take a
and take a
vote from
vote of the
the
people who
general
are there, the
membership.
2/3 that are required to
I guess
pass
what,
it.
what I can do is I can amend the motion to say that any bylaws changes must have the signature of 143 members before we will change the bylaws.
No,
Huh?
Majority.
it's 2/3. It's a
So I
2/3.
want 2/3 of the membership then to do that.
They would be at the meeting and they would vote on it, or you give them the opportunity to vote by proxy. You don't pass around a piece of paper for
Well-
people to sign.
Yeah, go ahead.
What you're proposing is actually a bylaw change right now, because what we said just a few minutes ago is that at the June 2nd meeting, the election of officers happens by the membership is present, and any bylaw changes are voted on by the general membership. And it didn't seem like anybody mentioned the bylaws being vetted by the board or being voted by the board ahead of time.
No, we don't vote at that time. It has to be presented 30 days before
Right,
the vote.
But it's not vetted by the board, or it doesn't have to be approved. Bylaw change recommendations that are proposed 30 days ahead of time and published 30 days ahead of time. Don't, from what I understood from what you said just a little bit ago, they didn't have to be vetted by the board. They could be proposed, they could be announced, and then they're voted on by the general membership at the board meeting. That's kind of what I understood you said, to say just a little bit ago.
That's what I just that the general
Well-
membership
The
votes
general
on the
membership
bylaw
votes on
changes.
bylaws and I didn't hear
When we,
any.
Yeah,
when
I-
we have the, membership,
I just need to know.
when we have the meeting for the bylaws, for the changes, doesn't the whole membership get to vote on it?
Yes.
Yeah,
I,
all the members that are here get to vote on it then.
Right,
At the
but if
annual
we bring a
meeting.
change
the
that
annual
you
meeting,
don't
right.
approve of for voting, that's what I'm saying. What if we bring a bylaw to you and you go, no, I don't think we want the membership to be aware of or to
Well,
vote on it? How's that work?
I guess, my view of that is that, one of the one of the benefits of going to a board-driven organization is that the board carries the vision and the mission of that organization and tries to keep things on track. And so, and we're your representatives in all, in this. And we really wanna keep things consistent and go towards our mission and objective. The only concern I have of somebody just proposing bylaws, and again, we got the same situation. If you got 100 people come in and say, we're gonna change the bylaws and, we're going to, reduce dues to $1 or whatever, that can be done. I mean, that's a stupid example, but that could be done. And that may not be what's in the best interest of the lake. I mean, the idea of having the board maintain that interest and do a good job of representing people, you know, what I'm hearing is that there may be some doubt or distrust in the board in terms of changing bylaws and the way the organization operates. But I think it's the board's job. I mean, the primary reason from going from a membership-driven to a board-driven was that the board would consistently carry the vision and mission forward so that somebody couldn't walk in the door and make a motion and take things over. I mean, some group of people. And it sounds to me like if we just open this up for anybody to come in and present bylaw changes without going through the board, that violates that concept.
I think any changes should be done at the general meeting during the summer, and that's the only time that you can make changes to the bylaws.
That's what we're saying.
Right.
That's
Okay.
what we're talking about.
That's what
Great.
Wait a second, you
And
know,
all
I
we're-
think there's confusion on the term, I'm sorry to interrupt, the general meeting versus the membership meeting.
No, that is the same. We're talking, the general meeting is the June
June meeting.
general meeting.
And
where-
all the rest, so we have 6 meetings a year, 1 general membership meeting and 5 board meetings.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
And at that general membership meeting
But-
is the time that the general members can vote on directors and potentially change bylaws.
Okay, so let me just go back, because in June of 2015, the bylaws were already changed. They were changed in September. How did the bylaw change happen in September 2014?
That was done at a membership meeting. Our
Okay,
old
I thought
our
there was
old,
only 1 membership meeting when the bylaws
No,
could be
that
changed.
was.
no, Bo, at that time,
I'm just trying to clarify, okay.
at that time, we were membership driven, and it could be changed at any membership meeting.
Without notifying the members.
No, they were notified.
They were
Notified
30
of the
days
date
ahead.
that vote was gonna take
Yeah.
place.
No, how?
I was
30
here.
days ahead
So were you
in
notified the date
August?
before? How were you notified that vote was gonna take place at that meeting? No, you were here at the meeting, but did they notify you?
The general membership meeting, anybody could come.
We kept
Right,
talking
right, I
about it.
know, but I'm
We kept
saying-
talking, kept talking.
Okay, I come in, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Virgil, I don't wanna plow ground we already plowed, you know what I mean? But to give another example about this issue about someone coming in and making a bylaws change. If I came in and I was a member and I said, I wanna make a bylaws change where only people who own property on Black Lake can be a member of Black Lake Association. The board would take a look at it, the board would meet, and they'd say, wait a minute, if we did this, we would lose our 501c3 status. We can't limit
That's not
it
true.
just to
That's not true.
landowners.
It is true.
Yes, you can.
So, if people wanna argue with me, fine, but that's one of the reasons why we had to change our bylaws when we became a 501c3. Okay, so if the board looked at it and the board says, no, we don't wanna lose our 501c3 status, we got these people donating money, we have some estates in here, we have other people that donated money, we're a 501c3, we would lose that status, and that is quite a benefit we ought to retain. So, we would rule that motion out of order, we wouldn't vote on it, and it couldn't pass.
why Ron has to make this motion right now.
Cause I just wanted to clarify it, that's all, and have some discussion on it, so that we get it in, so everybody understands what's going on. Because there was some misunderstanding with it, that we thought we clarified.
But if you make it different from the bylaws, isn't that like a bylaw change?
No, it's just saying
Well,
that we would, the board would have jurisdiction over that, and that we would go through and do that, that's what I'm saying.
Isn't that a bylaw change?
No,
I think it's an actionable motion at this point that should be considered for bylaw at a later date. Bev, I don't know. I mean, all that's going through my mind, and, again, I think, my own feeling is that, you know, we need to, the board is the one that's gotta be at the helm of this, and I don't want to, say that I think members should have input, members, and the input of the members should be really what's driving the organizations. I don't wanna get all wrapped up in bylaw changes, but I don't wanna provide the opportunity where some group can come in and change the whole structure of the strategic plan, or, you know, whatever we got
But then
in
couldn't
terms
you
of
limit the
bylaws. You
voting
could
to
say that,
property owners?
what's that?
Just
Well,
limit
Terry,
the
the
voting
reason
to
for property owners is, you've gotta be a charity that's not providing benefit to any specific group. And, I mean, a 501c3. When we went through this, the IRS made us change our bylaws, because we had in there, you had to be property owners on the lake. The IRS made us change that, and they made us change it to anyone who is committed to the achievement of our vision, our purpose, and our mission at that point. And so, that was the reason for that. We also had, I don't remember his name, but we had an attorney, we asked him to research. What was his name? Razabon. And, that was the primary change in our bylaw. And we had to have 5 years of financial information before you could file. Let's see, what other requirements? Oh, you couldn't support any political activity, anything that's of political nature. In fact, we had a guy, a candidate, he came to our meeting one night and wanted to speak, and we threw him out because he said he was a township supervisor, and he wanted to talk about some issues on, was it Twin Lakes? I don't remember where it was, and he came in and he started out, I'm so-and-so, and I'm running for office, but I need your vote. You're out of here. He was gone. I don't know what to do with this.
we'll table it.
Yeah.
We don't make any changes, I guess at the point, we'll just go by our existing with the
But
bylaws.
I think it's important that we provide some protection for this organization. And I'm not accusing anybody of doing that, or I'm not saying there's anybody that may be inclined to do that, but, it can happen.
Yeah.
So, let's table it. Okay.
That's a mistake.
Black Lake members' input and comments. You've had a lot tonight already.
Happy Thanksgiving. Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
thank you.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
Are there any other items?
Got time for membership,
That's the,
Yes, right now.
Wonderful. Well, I'm brand new to your organization. My name's John Roby. My dad's been here since 1963, and I sympathize with you, Boyd. I really do. I understand what you're saying without you even saying it. Because when I walked into this meeting tonight, I was attacked by that, I'm not gonna call him a gentleman. He came right over here in front of these guys and proceeded to attack me. So I understand exactly what the board is up against. This is no picnic, there's no Friends of Black Lake organization, and my question to you, Virgil, is how long is it gonna take to get that name organization off the end of Friends of Black Lake? They can be Friends of Black Lake all they want, but not with the organization behind it.
John, there's nothing we can do about that name. All that we can do is go forward and earn their respect. I know it's tough to do.
Have you looked into this legally?
I have not, but others have.
You can have a Facebook page.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things.
And I would hope, you know, again, I'm not on Facebook, I don't read that stuff, but I hear all kinds of stuff, I don't know even some of it's even true, but I don't think Facebook is doing what we want it to do in our organization, and I would hope that somehow that gets the attitudes and the behavior of people changed, so that it becomes a positive communication tool for this organization.
What would you like to see Facebook do?
What's that?
What would you like to see Facebook do?
Stop attacking. Be positive.
It's like Gossip Girl the other day.
Well, you know what,
Wait a minute, they're answering.
Okay, sure.
It is
But
like
could you do it
Gossip
one at a
Girl.
time? I have trouble with, so you're saying feel attacked?
Yeah.
I feel I've been personally attacked.
Me
Nobody,
too.
they don't even know me.
You know what?
But
As
that's
the
how I feel.
administrator, you are, anybody whose name is called out, I put this on Facebook. I think you're on Facebook, Linda, but I don't know,
I'm not.
Mr. Smith, what your first name is.
I'm on there so I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't comment, cause I don't wanna give you the time of day.
Okay, so you're disengaged, but let me just make something
Yes, I'm
clear, 'cause you see,
disengaged.
we put this on Facebook. If you call somebody out specifically by their name, if you make fun of their name, then your comments are removed, you're warned. If it happens again, then you're blocked, and that has happened. So, Mr. Smith, I check it every day multiple times. I've seen nothing directed at you,
Well,
or
nothing-
you either,
But you
Linda.
have
Now,
me.
people will, what I've seen about you is people
Yes.
saying, thank you for the website. They've
Besides
asked you
that.
questions, and you fired back pretty good too,
You're right.
Cindy. You have.
I'm
You've
sticking up
you've
for you.
definitely held your own.
Do you blame me?
I'm not blaming anybody, I'm just stating the fact. But here's what else I've seen on Facebook. I've seen a lot of beautiful pictures appreciating the beauty of Black Lake, both at sunrise and sunset.
My
I
dad
have
posts
seen
all the time.
Janelle Trempanier, who is a physical fitness expert, and she was posting about some classes that she conducts. And since she did it towards the end, I didn't get a chance to contact her because I was interested, because I'm into all that stuff too.
Well, she dropped out because of all the negativity on the Facebook
Yeah,
page.
she dropped out, right, so there's really nothing I can do about that,
No,
just let me finish. I've also seen, if you were to take a look at it, I know you're real preoccupied with the comments and, you know, people talking about the board, but that, first of all, that is not the majority of it, okay? It is not you're not, Cindy, it's not. If you go through and count, we can go through it together, I'm happy to, because there are information about maybe some things that you disagree with. There may be things that make you uncomfortable, but that's also kind of part of the process.
Not
Because
even.
there are things that the board is doing that's making other people uncomfortable. Whether it's in person or, you know, through different things. So, no, legally, you cannot take, Facebook down as Friends of the Black Lake Association. I think that as a board, it would be a very, I wouldn't recommend this move, given that we have 247 people who
But not all
joined the
of them
closed
are-
group.
But they're not part of the Black Lake Association.
Most of those aren't even members.
Well, I wouldn't know that, Cindy, because I don't even have a list of the members, so if you wanted to ever, you know, give that to me. But, as you brought up earlier, it's kind of a good way for recruitment. And you're right, we did, because he just joined, And so they are people, exactly as you say, who aren't members. But my feeling was, look, if you find out what we're doing, and you're talking about sending letters to people on Black Lake who don't even belong to the organization, so we're really on the same page there.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
For that
You know,
specific
no,
comment.
we're sending those letters out, telling them what the organization is doing and trying to get them to join our organization. When the comments that I've heard on Facebook is that there were people that were attacking the Black Lake Association and this board and the previous boards that doing things wrong. Now, what is the difference? What's the difference when having a person's name or having an organization name? I understand that there was a post by Mary Rocco that said that she was paddling down the river and she saw quagga mussels in there, and there's quagga mussels in Black Lake.
I didn't say I was paddling down the river.
Well,
And I
I'm
did
sorry,
say but
I embellished that a little bit.
I can pull up the-
Okay, okay, now just wait a minute. Now, let me finish.
You got them all ears
Okay,
for you.
and excuse me, I have a habit of talking loud, and I apologize for that. But anyhow, that was put on Facebook, wasn't it? So now, everybody, all your 200 and some odd members, oh, there's quagga mussels in Black Lake. Okay, are there?
No.
Or was there a retraction put in there? Do all those people know that these are not in the lake?
No, can I, let me see if I can pull it up.
Hey, but, hey, that's what I'm not on Facebook, and I heard this. Now, that's wrong. Another thing that I've heard,
Why don't you go on Facebook and just?
because I don't want to. And the other thing that I've heard.
Then don't comment about it
Then
if you don't wanna go on the
comment. Yeah, if
Facebook.
you can't talk about it
But
firsthand, I
but it
can't go.
disturbs this board. It disturbs this organization. What my goal is to have disagreements in this meeting. But when we leave this meeting, we are a united front to improve the lake and everybody is together. Okay? You know, just with the things that are happening right now, reminds me of Behringer Township meetings, where they got somebody there, the meetings are totally disrupted. Okay? The other thing, you know, it's like the Democrats and the Republicans up in Congress. Okay, the Republicans are never right, the Democrats, hey, whatever the minority is, all you hear about is everybody talking about, that son of a gun did this and did that. I don't want that for this organization. I want this organization to be, when we walk out that door, I want everybody lined up to be,
Right behind us.
take care of the lake, do good for the lake. That's all I want. I don't want to spend these last 6 months that we've had talking about all the things that this board did for the last 5 years. And everything that was done in the last 5 years
Don't point at me like
was done by our bylaws. Everything that we did was correct. Yes, they were. Everything that we did was behind that. It's behind, it's over. It's done. Let's move on. Let's be together. That's all I want. And I think that's all this board wants. Hey, it's no fun. Hey, this organization, I used to really like it. Right now, I'm this close to saying, talking to the board, making a motion to dissolve the organization and give all our money to another nonprofit organization. Because it's not worth it. I'm a volunteer, everybody's a volunteer. So why should we do this? What's the purpose? What do you want from the organization? All we hear is, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Why did you do this? I understand that a gentleman just resigned from your organization, from your committee.
Communications.
Okay?
Whatever.
Why did he resign?
You didn't wanna be on it anymore.
Why? Why?
Due to negativity.
Okay.
Hey,
That's all he did.
okay, we don't want that. It's not worth it.
Well, what some people think is negativity, other people think, you know, it wasn't a good fit for you to be with us.
Hey, now, wait now. Let me say something else, okay?
Don't, you keep giving it to me, do it.
Well, you're the director. You're the boss of that thing. You do whatever you want. You pull the guy's name off, you put it on.
Thank you
You're
for
the
the
administrator.
compliment.
You're the administrator.
Administrator.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that Mr. Gowland put on there that this organization snuck fish into the mission statement.
Where was?
Now, okay, and then the comment was,
That, yes,
When
he
you.
did.
okay, and the comment was,
Can you pull it up?
Yeah,
Donald definitely
okay.
put that
Can you
on.
pull up that text?
Hey, and the comment was, hey, the comment was,
We have that. all
I think that that they
Okay.
snuck it in, and anybody who has past newsletters, give it, or past bylaws, give it to me so I can establish a timeline. Well, that, baloney.
What
makes me mad.
happened is that somebody pointed out to you that there wasn't fish on there, and then you talked to Cindy about changing it to bring it back to what it was. I mean, what was the
It was
reason why you
never
changed
off.
it?
It was the proposed on there, that's been on there for 2 years that we've been discussing. It was never changed to the updated version.
Okay, we can understand why Rusty thought it was changed by the board and snuck in.
And plus you had to do.
And that was a misunderstanding, and that's exactly what went on.
Was a retraction put in there? No.
So
Just
you
leave
know
it
what,
go.
you know what,
They're
here's
just
the
a bunch of
crux of
sneaks.
this,
Let's,
Mr. Dulac.
Okay, I'm
Let's,
sorry. I'm done.
Let's wrap this up. I'm not sure this is productive. Sometimes it's better to, well, sometimes it's better to get it out. I understand that.
Transparency.
That's the only reason I let it go, and I think it's gone far enough. Again, I would plea that, for everyone to work together and be respectful of one another and use our talents as we can to make this a better place.
I
And,
really want us to.
I just wanna drop it. Now, I got one more thing that I forgot to mention back in the treasurer's report. I talked with Richie Nash today, who took a look at our accounting practice and books. And he will have a formal or report in December, end of the year. Hopefully that's December. Hopefully they're done sooner. Anyway, his findings are that everything was done in accordance with general accounting practices. There's no problems, there's no issues. But he did tell me that he is not an expert in charitable or 501c3 organizations, and he wants to talk to his formal partner who is, and he will give us any recommendations or thoughts that we could be aware of as we go forward and from a financial aspect. So as far as he's concerned, he did not do a formal audit, but the accounting practices are fine.
He did a review.
And he did a review, and he did help Cindy set up some reserve funds.
Take the money out.
We identified the amount of money that was in the general fund, and they've now been separated. So I wanted to report that, and thank you, Cindy, for a good job.
I got a question about that report. At our last meeting, we approved Nash to do an audit, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
But he didn't know he was gonna do an audit.
No one
That costs
told him.
thousands of dollars. He wouldn't do it unless,
He said no one,
Rocco said it was gonna be an audit. I heard her, it's in the minutes.
well, he did not know, he was blindsided.
Are we gonna have an audit done?
No.
We're gonna
Well, if
have.
you
Well-
want it, but it's thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
well, Chris was going to do it for $400 to $600
Right,
for
if you want it.
Sangster and Sheboygan. And Mary said no, because she could have Richie said he'd do an audit for us for free. So we all voted for the audit. But when it came time, and he came to Cindy's house, and I was there because I handled the money too. He sat down and he worked for about an hour and a half, and then I said, when will you have the audit done? And he said, audit? I don't know anything about an audit. Nobody asked me to do an audit. So Cindy and I were sort of taken aback because you had said an audit. So he said, fine, he said, I will take care of this, I will do it. He has a partner who still has a license. So he will give it to him, he'll take care of it.
They'll
And
review the
they'll
books.
review the whole thing
He
and
worked for
give us a
CPA,
report.
but I assumed he could do an audit, but maybe he no longer maintains the CPA.
No, he didn't know anything about it.
He didn't know anything about it, Mary. He said you didn't
Well, maybe
mention
an audit
audit.
and a review, I don't know, maybe there was confusion in terms, maybe, or,
I don't know how there could be a confusion in that term.
yeah, true.
An audit is an audit.
Cause he wouldn't give us
Well,
a CPA license.
The bottom line is, Richie said there's really not, in terms of where we're at and our assets and all that, there's really nothing
Get
here
a
to
trial
get a.
balance and it's all there.
It's all there and there's nothing that the IRS is, it's a pittance. And, there's no concern and there's nothing, everything has been done, again, in accordance with general accounting practices. And so, I think we're fine.
Okay. Virgil, I'd like to make one more motion. I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's cookies.